Imagine this. A woman is dragged through the dusty streets of Jerusalem, her hair tangled, her clothes torn, her face covered with shame. A crowd surrounds her, pointing fingers, shouting accusations. In their hands, stones, ready to crush her life in a single moment. And in the middle of it all stands Jesus. Silent, calm, different. The religious leaders scream, "Teacher." This woman was caught in the very act of adultery. The law says we should stone her. What do you say? The crowd holds its breath. Every word, every move of Jesus could decide life or death. And then something unexpected happens. Instead of rushing to speak, instead of arguing, he stoops down and with his finger, he begins to write on the ground. What did he write? Why did he write? And how did those simple strokes in the dust save a woman's life and reveal the heart of God? This is not just a story of a woman. This is the story of all of us. And today on Channel Name, we're going deeper into the mystery of what happened when Jesus wrote on the ground. 1. The trap, John 8:3-6. The Pharisees thought they had trapped Jesus. If he said stone her, he would lose his reputation as merciful. If he said let her go, he would appear to break Moses' law. It was the perfect setup, or so they thought. But Jesus, the master of wisdom, knew their hearts before answering. He bent down and started writing, not because he didn't know what to say, but because he wanted to show the crowd and us something eternal. 2. What did he write? The Bible doesn't reveal the exact words, but scholars and preachers through centuries have given us clues. Some believe he wrote the sins of the accusers, exposing their hidden lives in the dust. Others believe he wrote the commandments of the law, reminding them of their own failures. But here's the mystery. Whatever he wrote, it was enough to pierce the hearts of the crowd, because one by one, the stones began to fall to the ground. From the oldest to the youngest, silence filled the air. Conviction weighed heavy. The very men who came to accuse walked away in shame. 3. The turning point, John 8:7-9. And then Jesus spoke the words that shook history. Let the one who is without sin cast the first stone. It wasn't just a challenge, it was a mirror. It forced every man to see his own sin before judging someone else's. That's the power of his words. They reveal us before they redeem us. The sound of dropping stones was the sound of grace triumphing over judgment. 4. Face to face with mercy, John 8:10-11. The crowd was gone, the accusers vanished, and the woman, trembling, lifted her eyes and found herself alone with Jesus. He asked her, "Woman, where are your accusers? Has no one condemned you?" And she whispered, "No one, Lord." And then came the greatest words of freedom, "Neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more." That's the heart of Jesus. He doesn't excuse sin, but he destroys condemnation. He doesn't justify wrong, but he gives power to live right. He doesn't throw stones, he gives second chances. 5. Lesson on us. This story is not about one woman in ancient Jerusalem. It's about you and me. We've all been caught in something. We've all fallen short. And the world may point fingers. Society may condemn. People may throw stones. But Jesus stoops down into the dust of our shame and writes a new story. To the guilty, he gives grace. To the broken, he gives healing. To the condemned, he gives freedom. When Jesus writes, he doesn't write your failures. He writes your future. He doesn't write your shame. He writes your salvation. Part 6. The Finger of God. This is not the first time God wrote with his finger. In Exodus 31:18, God wrote the 10 Commandments on tablets of stone. Now in John 8, the same divine finger writes in the dust of the earth. Why dust? Because we were formed from dust, Genesis 2:7. Jesus was writing into the very material of humanity, showing that he came not to destroy us, but to restore us. 7. Grace doesn't cancel holiness. Notice carefully, Jesus didn't say, "It's okay, continue in sin." He said, "Go and sin no more." Grace forgives, but grace also transforms. Real forgiveness doesn't leave us where it found us, it lifts us higher. 8. The power of silence. Before Jesus spoke, he stooped down and was silent. Sometimes God's silence is not his absence, it's his strategy. In silence, he disarmed the accusers. In silence, he created space for conviction. And in silence, he revealed that not every battle requires noise. Sometimes the greatest answer is wisdom written in the dust. 9. From condemnation to commission. That woman walked in expecting death, but she left with a mission. She carried a testimony, "I met Jesus." and he set me free. Every encounter with Christ doesn't just save you, it sends you. If he delivered you, it's so you can tell others. There is no sin too deep that his grace cannot reach. 10. What is Jesus writing in your life? Maybe you feel condemned today. Maybe people have stones in their hands against you. But listen, Jesus is writing in your dust too. Not judgment, not shame, but hope, mercy, and destiny. The same hand that wrote in the ground now writes your name in the book of life, Luke 10:20. And no man can erase what Jesus has written. So what happened when Jesus wrote on the ground? A trap was broken, a woman was saved, a crowd was convicted, and grace triumphed over law. He is still writing today, not on tablets of stone, not in the dust of Jerusalem, but on the tablets of our hearts. 2 Corinthians 3:3. This is the power of Jesus. This is why we share his word here on Channel Name. So today, put down the stones, pick up his grace, and let him write your story.